Most people write off Newfoundland and Labrador. They call it cold. They call it isolated. But they are missing something. This is a place closer to London than to Vancouver. A short trip here drops you straight into France. From a moon training crater to Canada's windiest city. Here are 15 incredible geography facts about Canada's easternmost province. Look at a map and one question jumps out. Why are Labrador and Newfoundland one province? They are torn apart by the Strait of Belle Isle. The answer goes back centuries. The waters off Labrador held rich fishing grounds. They also held dense whaling grounds. British governors sat on the island of Newfoundland. They needed legal control over the mainland coast. Control meant they could tax the fisheries. Eventually, this marine border became permanent. The ocean's wealth bound Labrador to Newfoundland forever. Imagine walking on the inner earth. In Gros Morne, this is real. It is called the Tablelands. It breaks up the lush landscape. Millions of years ago, continents collided. The collision forced the mantle upward. This layer usually hides beneath the crust. This rock is rich in heavy metals. It lacks the nutrients plants need. Iron in the rock oxidizes in the air. The result looks like a piece of Mars. It dropped right onto the Canadian coast. Far north in Labrador stand the Torngat Mountains. Glaciers carved this land over millions of years. Sheer ocean fjords cut into the mountains. Some peaks rise over 3,000 feet. The name comes from an Inuktitut word. It means place of spirits. This region sits between forest and Arctic. That mix supports a unique array of wildlife. A distinct population of polar bears lives here. They hunt and den entirely within these fjords. Deep in northern Labrador lies a hidden crater. It is called Mistastin Crater. A meteorite struck here 36 million years ago. The crater spans 28 kilometers across. A lake now fills the impact site. The impact exposed a rare mineral called anorthosite. This same mineral covers the lunar highlands. NASA uses this terrain to train astronauts. Canadian space scientists work here too. They prepare here for real lunar missions. If you fear snakes, Newfoundland is perfect. The island is thick with forest and wildlife, yet it has no native snakes at all. During the last ice age, ice covered everything. The glaciers retreated 10,000 years ago. Sea levels rose and cut the island off. Snakes moved too slowly to cross open water. The ocean barrier locked several animals out. No skunks, porcupines, groundhogs or raccoons live here either. Long before Columbus, Norse explorers crossed the Atlantic. They arrived 5 centuries before he did. At the island's northern tip lies L'Anse Meadows. Archaeologists found this site in the 1960s. It holds the remains of a Viking settlement. The buildings match those found in Greenland and Iceland. Iron slag and a bronze pin were found here. Woodworking debris confirmed a working camp. Leif Erikson's crew built a base here. Columbus was not the first European in America. Long before the pyramids, monuments rose in Labrador. This site is called L'Anse Amour. Archaeologists found a complex burial mound here. Radiocarbon dating placed it at 7,500 years old. It is the oldest known burial mound on the continent. A young boy was buried face down here. He was buried with a carved walrus tusk. Harpoon heads were placed beside him. Bone flutes were found in the grave too. Advanced seafaring cultures thrived here millennia ago. In the 1500s, Red Bay became a global hub. Basque mariners sailed here from Spain and France. They built a massive whaling station in the harbour. Right and bowhead whales gathered here in huge numbers. Thousands of workers rendered whale blubber into oil. This oil was shipped back across the Atlantic. It lit the street lamps of Renaissance Europe. Red Bay led the world in whale oil for decades. The whale population eventually collapsed. Bowhead whale numbers have never fully recovered. Before his famous Pacific voyages, Cook worked here. He spent 5 years mapping Newfoundland in the 1760s. The coastline here is jagged and confusing. The British Navy needed accurate charts after the war. Cook charted the treacherous coves and bays himself. He produced the first scientifically accurate maps of the island. Sailors still used his charts into the 20th century. His maps secured British naval power in the region. This work earned him command of the Endeavour. It launched his legendary voyages in the Southern Hemisphere. Modern telecommunications trace back to St. John's. Scientists once believed radio waves traveled in straight lines. They thought waves would shoot off into space. Guglielmo Marconi set out to prove them wrong. Newfoundland is the most easterly point in North America. Marconi set up his equipment on Signal Hill. This location shortened the distance across the Atlantic. Howling winds battered the site that day. He used a kite to hoist his antenna. On December 12, 1901, everything changed. He received a Morse code signal for the letter S. It had traveled over 3,500 kilometers from Cornwall, England. Labrador's scale is hard to comprehend. It covers 71% of the province's land, yet it holds less than 6% of its people. Most residents live in small coastal communities. Others live in isolated mining towns. The interior remains almost entirely untouched. This makes Labrador one of the planet's last great wildernesses. Endless forests, wild rivers, and silent tundra define it. Most borders are settled. This one is not. The border was drawn in 1927 in London. The British Privy Council made the ruling. Water flowing east into the Atlantic went to Labrador. Water flowing west went to Quebec. Quebec felt this ruling stripped away resource-rich land. Quebec never formally accepted the decision. The border is still technically disputed today. Quebec's own maps often mark it as undefined. You do not need to cross the Atlantic to visit France. Just 25 kilometers off the coast sits a small archipelago. It is called Saint-Pierre and Miquelon. This is the last piece of French North America. Canadian waters surround it on every side. Yet it remains a self-governing territory of France. French is the official language here. The currency is the euro. Local bakeries serve fresh, authentic baguettes. Just don't expect to find the Eiffel Tower. Canada stretches across an enormous width. Newfoundland juts far into the Atlantic Ocean. Stand at Cape Spear near St. John's. You are closer to London than to Vancouver. Flights to Western Europe are often shorter than flights west. This geography has shaped the province's culture and trade. It has shaped its history for centuries. Newfoundland is known for wild, unpredictable weather. Its position on the globe explains why. The island sits directly in the path of Atlantic winds. Ocean currents and the jet stream converge here. Powerful windstorms hit the island without interruption. This makes St. John's the windiest city in Canada. This wind once made life brutally hard for settlers. Today, that same wind is a resource. The province is shifting from oil to wind power. Newfoundland is becoming a global superpower of wind energy. Newfoundland and Labrador may be Canada's most fascinating province. It is equal parts island and mainland. It sits far from everything else in the country. In many ways, it feels like its own country.